Hey guys, thanks for joining in. For all those who have just joined in, we'll be starting in 1 minute. Just waiting for some more people to join in. And welcome to the Entrepreneurship and Startup Club. Today is the launch event. I'll be talking about, I'll be giving like a talk, how you can start up with the different journey and phases of in the life of an entrepreneur. And then we can have a Q&A session at the end.
Through your videos nowadays.
Some of the chat asked, anyone from Bangalore? I am from Bangalore, in fact. It's great to see people from Bangalore. But anyway, I think we have about 185 people. So let's just get started. Oh, it's great. I'm seeing people from uh, all over India, Haryana, Chennai, Hyderabad, Jaipur, Odisha, Visakhapatnam. This is super cool, guys. This is super cool. But let's get started now. We can have this session a little bit later. So let's just start it. Okay, we have 210 people now, so let's begin. So welcome to the launch of the Entrepreneurship and Startup Club. This is going to be a club exclusive for Bluelearn members who have signed up. It's free to sign up, but we have a limited slot list. So like the English club that we launched, we got over 1,200 applications, but till now we've only taken about 400 to 500 students, right? It's because we don't have the right now, the bandwidth to teach so many students at the same time. But we're slowly scaling. We're slowly building better tools and better features to facilitate everyone. So let's just move on with this. Um, so basically, what is the Entrepreneurship Club at Bluelearn? It's basically a place to learn about entrepreneurship and startups, and not just about learning other startups that you can do all over Instagram or YouTube, right? We're not going to teach you how other startups are doing well, what is the business model. We're going to teach you how you can start your own business. What are the things that you need? What is the journey that you will go through, right? So every week, usually either on Saturday or Sunday, one of those days, we will have a masterclass. Now, the masterclass can be taken by an experienced founder, a venture capitalist, investor, angel investor, or some big founder. And during the weekdays, we will be having sessions. Now, we will be either having brainstorming sessions, like I mentioned over here, or if you come down to the third point, I did mention that there will be 2 to 3 events every month, such as competitions, mentorship sessions, pitching competitions, etc. And to make it seem super cool for you guys, we at Bluelearn have partnered up with over 7 to 8 different VC firms, venture capital firms, and they have agreed to give live mentorship, reviews, and if they really like your startup idea, they are willing to put in a $500,000 check um, once every 2 to 3 months and fund some startups coming through us. So you just get a lot of exposure. And again, all this is completely for free. We're not charging anything. We just want to help, right? So the thing is, each learning session is going to be completely independent of other sessions. So for example, if you join in this week, but you have missed last week's class, no issue. It doesn't matter. Every class is going to be independent from previous classes. And of course, we're going to have exclusive events, guest lectures, all the other cool stuff, right? So let's go right in. So in today's sort of talk, I really want this to be a two-way communication. I don't want to just be talking. So if there's any question or if you guys have any question, please answer. Please use the chat box and just keep texting. The chat box I can see on this side on my other monitor, so I'll be looking over here and monitoring that as well. But can anyone tell me what do all of these startups have in common, right? What it's a very easy thing, very easy, nothing too hard, very easy thing. Yeah, correct. I think someone's correct. Ashwin, I think had it. It's that they all solve a problem. Now, they all solve a problem in different fields, different industries, but the very root, the very basic idea is that they all solve a problem. And yeah, you guys are right, through unique ideas, right? Now, the solution that they provide all fall under these categories. Now, broadly, obviously there are exceptions, right? Some are very particular, but in general, if you look at any startup, they fall under any one of these categories. They either help save time, help save money, reduce effort or add convenience, and of course provide entertainment slash knowledge or education. Now let's look back over here, right? There's Swiggy. What does Swiggy do? It helps you save time. Why? Because you don't have to go out and physically pick up your food. It gets delivered to your house in less than 30 minutes, right? Zerodha, it adds so much convenience when you want to buy stocks. Same thing for WhatsApp. Netflix and Unacademy, they come in the last category where they provide entertainment or education and knowledge, right? So if you look at any one of these startups around the world, anything, they will fall under one or more of these categories. And that is what we need to try to figure out. Now, always keep in mind that if you want to build a startup, if you want to have your own startup, you need to always keep looking for problems around you to solve. Always, every second of the day, you should be thinking, oh, there's a problem over here. How can I make it better? How can I build a solution for this? Right? And when you try to find these problems, try to figure out which ones are affecting people in their everyday life, in their day-to-day life, right? Which one is that? Let me just share my screen again. Okay. I hope my screen is visible, right? So, and all those guys who have questions, don't worry. I will be having a dedicated question answer session at the end. So don't worry about this, right? And last point, last but very important point, you need to fall in love with the problem. If you don't love, if you're not passionate about the problem, then it's going to be very difficult for you to find a solution because your solution might not work the first time, right? But you cannot just give up. If you're passionate about the problem, you will find another solution or another one, and you keep on going without giving up, which is why I'd say fall in love with the problem. So moving on to some common startup terms. This is just from some of the broad startup terms. We have pivot, USP, bootstrap, PMF, and MVP. Some of these you guys may have heard before, some of you may not. It doesn't matter. Pivot is basically a change in the direction of a company. Almost all major companies have had multiple pivots, starting from YouTube to Instagram, Dunzo. A lot of these startups, they did not initially think that this is what they're going to be building. But halfway through, they realized that this is a better problem to solve, and they pivoted. So a change in direction of the company is a pivot. A USP is a unique selling proposition. This is something that will help differentiate your startup, your company from your competitors. What makes you different? What makes you unique, right? That is your USP. Coming to bootstrap, this just means that there's a startup that has not taken any funding, has not raised any money. It's no outside capital. Can someone tell me a startup which is bootstrapped? Yeah, correct. So Harsh, okay, a lot of people. Yeah, Zerodha is by far the most popular bootstrap company. They have not raised any money, and they have been running that company using either their own money or using the profits that they make. So it's a really great startup. Now coming to PMF, I think, in my personal opinion, I think that PMF is the most important thing of a startup. It stands for product market fit. Product market fit is when you know or when you realize that what you have built is actually solving a problem. More often than not, more than 50, 60, 70% of the times, a startup fails because the startup has built something that no one really needs. They may want it, it's cool, they want it, but they don't need it, right? And that's where the biggest difference comes in. And it's very subjective. It's hard to, understand when you found product market fit or not, but it takes experience, and we'll definitely come to this in a later stage. Coming to the last one, MVP. This is the minimum viable product. And again, I have a slide dedicated to this, so don't worry, Adam. So now I'm going to go through the different stages of the life or the journey of an entrepreneur, right? How they go from building something from 0 to 1. So the very first stage is ideation. Once you have found a solution to the problem, you need to refine that idea. You need to keep thinking, making it better and better. So the very first thing that I would suggest or recommend people to do is to write it down. Once you have an idea and you write it down, then it suddenly becomes 10, 100 times more clear, right? You can see it. You can see it, you can make arrows, graphs, all these things. So writing it down is very important. Second, share it with someone. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, right? If you think your friends will just make fun of you, then share it with your family, professors, relatives, teachers, right? Get someone's opinion. What do people think about it? Right? This is very, very important because your friends, family, whoever you share it with, they will give you feedback. But a lot of people will laugh at you, right? A lot of people have laughed at big ideas. If you guys have heard of FedEx, right? One of the biggest shipping companies in the world, when he pitched the idea to FedEx, the founder, to his business professor in college, his business professor laughed at it and said, "This is not a good startup. This is not a good idea and will never work." And now FedEx is a multi-billion-dollar company, right? So do not worry if someone does not take your idea seriously, if someone laughs at you, don't worry. That's not your job is to think about. Your job is to try to solve that problem, right? So keep getting feedback and keep working the idea. Also, a side note, if you are in this phase, right, that you found a problem, you found a solution, try figuring out the name and a logo in this stage. Also, if required, look for a co-founder as well. I would again recommend everyone who is starting up to find a co-founder, because without a co-founder, it becomes very difficult managing everything by yourself, all the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs. It's always better to have someone with you. Now, moving on to the stage 2, once you have found a problem, a solution, you have an idea, you've written it down. Now, what's the next step? It's to develop your MVP. Now, your MVP is the minimum viable product. This is your first prototype of the product that has a very limited set of features. It doesn't look good, it's very rough, it has bugs, but it is enough to satisfy the initial customers. So minimum viable product is something that is far from perfect. It is rough, it is laggy, buggy. It's just the first iteration or the prototype of your product, right? But in this stage, it is very important to make sure you get the legal copyrights or patents to protect your product from being stolen, right? And I'll give you some examples of some MVPs. Let's see who recognizes these, right? Okay, this is easy. I don't think this is too difficult, but this is the first prototype version of Facebook. It was called the Facebook back then. And if you notice, it doesn't look too beautiful. It's very functional. Your email password, some two buttons, that's it, right? And if you notice over here, you can see their value proposition, which means what are the features that you get. So you can search for people at your school. You can look out who are in your classes. You can look up your friends, and you can see a visualization of your social network. So when Facebook was launched, these are the ideas, or these are the things that Mark Zuckerberg wanted to solve or wanted to provide. And this was his initial set of customers that he was trying to satisfy. That's why Facebook was only opened up for Harvard initially, and later on it expanded to multiple other colleges before becoming one of the biggest social media platforms, right? But this is basically what Facebook's MVP looked back in 2004, if you noticed down here. Now I'm going to show you guys another MVP. Let's see who can get this one. It looks very rough. It looks, I'm sorry for the low quality image, but this is one of the only images that I could find on the internet. It's very, very old. But yeah, you guys are right. It is Spotify. I'm so glad so many people got it. In fact, I didn't understand until I saw this. I was a little confused, right? What is this? But this is how Spotify looked a decade ago, or more than a decade. I don't know when exactly started, but this is when how Spotify looked when it was just launched. Here you can see the song, you can see the artist, you can see the duration or the length of the song, and this popularity column that you see over here, this was the USP of Spotify. When Spotify launched, there was no other music streaming platform that provided data on the popularity of a song, right? How popular a song is. This was started by Spotify. And this is basically what differentiated Spotify from its competitors. How popular a song is based on how many times someone has heard it or the song was streamed. And till this date, it's still there, right? If you notice the number of streams of a song, you can still see that for every song on Spotify. But again, coming back to the point, this does not look beautiful, right? It's not fancy. It's not some super tech heavy thing. It's the most basic prototype that was put together to satisfy the initial set of customers. And that is what an MVP is. Now, once you've built an MVP, now it's time for stage 3. I would say this is one of the most essential parts of your journey, because now it's time to actually get feedback and to modify your product based on the feedback. So now in this stage, you need to conduct meetings with industry leaders or experts, and you have to modify or slightly pivot based on the feedback. If you get feedback from 100 of your customers and they all say that your product is not good, they will not buy it, they will not pay for it, then you have to realize that you need to change something. Maybe provide more value, reduce the price, I don't know, right? But you need to reiterate. And of course, keep refining your product. Also, a little bit of a note, in this stage, I would actually not recommend, remember that negative feedback is 100 times more valuable than positive feedback. Having negative feedback will give you those insights that positive feedback will not give you, right? Doesn't matter. If someone says good things about you or your product, it's not going to help you anyway. But when someone gives you negative feedback, that means the person is honest and he is giving you very important advice or feedback. So this is something that I have learned over 2 years of pitching. Now coming to the last stage. Now, of course, this is not the last stage, but in this early stage journey of an entrepreneur, maybe if a student or an early working professional, the last stage would be to launch your product, and of course, sales and marketing. If there is someone in the audience who has already made it to this stage, then I congratulate you, because reaching this stage means that you've already passed 95% of all startup founders, right? Getting to the stage is not easy. This means that you have a working product, you have built the MVP, and now it's time to launch your product. This is the time to advertise and to market your product and try to understand your segment, your industry, your customers. What do they want? What is the best place to reach out to them, right? If you are targeting, let's say, working professionals, then maybe LinkedIn ads might be helpful, because working professionals go on LinkedIn a lot. If you're trying to target maybe college students, then YouTube might be a better option, or Instagram, right? So try to understand where your customers are and which platform they regularly use. So that's mostly it for this lecture. I know it's very short. I've tried to keep it 20-25 minutes because I don't want to take up too much of people's time. And this was just an overview. But again, keep in mind that you will face hundreds, even thousands of rejections, people saying no, people who just don't believe in you, your vision, your product. But never ever lose sight of your vision or give up. you will finally come across someone or something that will in one day change your life, right? So that's it for the presentation. Again, like I mentioned, I've tried to keep it as short as possible, but now I'm open to answering questions, right? That's basically what we want to do over here. So, okay, so people are asking how to register and how to join the club. We will send the link on this chat itself. In fact, let me just stop sharing. Okay. So if Viraj or Harish or someone is on this, then maybe they can just send the link to the group or link to the website where you can just sign up and you'll be able to start. Yeah. Okay. So I'm seeing a lot of questions being asked. This is great. I'm happy that so many people have questions. Okay. So I'm going to try to answer the questions related to the Entrepreneurship Club right now. So is there any age limit? Absolutely not. There is no age limit at all for anything. For being an entrepreneur, you can be as young as 10 years old and build something that's valuable. Okay, yes. For all those who have been added to the WhatsApp group, yes, you have been accepted. For the Entrepreneurship Club, we have kept it as a first come, first serve basis. So the first 200 and I think 57, what is the WhatsApp limit?
Yeah.
Whatever the limit is, at first 257 we'll be taking for now. And we'll be opening up for the next 257 students, maybe next week or next to next week. So join the WhatsApp group. And I'll tell you a little bit. So I'm seeing a couple of questions. What exactly is going to happen over here? So today I just gave you an overview of the journey of an entrepreneur, right? I gave them ideation stage, MVP stage, all these things. But now in the sessions that we're going to conduct during the weekends in this entrepreneurship club or for the students of the club, there will be more in-depth and in detailed sessions. We're going to be diving deeper into each stage. I saw a lot of questions while I was presenting. I saw a lot of questions. People asking how to find a co-founder, how to register a startup, a bunch of other questions. And these are the questions that we will be solving in the club. Every week we'll be focusing on a different topic, a different concept. And then on the weekdays, we will be having dedicated brainstorming sessions where you guys can even meet other potential customers or potential employees, potential co-founder. I've had a lot of people who've texted me saying that, hey, I have a startup idea and I really want to find a co-founder. And this is the place to be, right? Because we're trying to build a community of entrepreneurs over here.
And a couple of people have raised their hands. I want to take questions from them.
Okay, sure.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, so thanks, Shreyans. First of all, it was a great, valuable learning.
Thank you.
So I have two questions for you. That suppose I'm 19 years old and a non-technical person, just I'm learning programming and other stuff. For example, if a person wants to validate an idea, so I was learning the Kunal Shah's Delta Force theory about efficiency and inefficiency. So, for example, of Bluelearn, that how did you validate that? Okay, this is the place. From now, we could have created an MVP out of it. Otherwise, what happens if somebody creates the code before and then tries to validate to fit the solution? Then I don't think it is a potential solution. My another question will be that how to get after you made the service, from where did you get the first customers? Because that time you're young, you're not connected with people, you have no social media presence. So what did you recommend?
Okay, so I'll answer your second question first. Great questions, by the way, great questions. How to get your first customer? Again, it's a long answer, right? There's no short answer for that. And this is something that we'll be exploring on in the weeks coming to the club. But I'll give you a short answer. Many of the big companies that you see today, their first customers were their friends, relatives, and family members, right? So your first customer doesn't have to be a stranger. It doesn't have to be someone random. It can be someone as simple as your mom, dad, brother, sister, right? But what happens is once they start using the product that you have built, If it is truly providing value, then they will tell their friends. And that network, that organic promotion that happens is the best way to obtain any customer, right? That's what I would say for that in a short time frame. Coming to your first question, you asked more about validation, right? How can we validate an idea?
Yeah.
Now, validation, again, very good question, a little bit tricky. I can't answer it in just one time. It requires a whole session. But there are multiple ways to validate your ideas. One, pitching out to people, your friends, family, potential VCs, mentors, advisors. Ask them, would you use my product if it was given for free? Ask that question first. Because if someone is not using your product, even if it's free, then that means there's no value being provided. Correct? But if your product is being used by someone and it's for free, then it's great, right? You can maybe double down on it and build more features. Try to understand what people want. That's what I would say. And you did say that people write their code before building the product and validating the idea. I think that's the risk that people take while building a startup, right? You cannot always have a product that will 100% work. So I would say build the roughest version possible of your product. No need to make it beautiful, no need to make it very fancy. Make a very rough, easy to use, understand product, and then ask your friends, family, customers, what do you think about this?
And Shreyans, one last doubt I have that before talking to customers, what should be the medium of conversation at the early stage? When you are starting to get customers, it should be like during the research stage, when you're just researching the market, it should be like cold mails, or it should be through the internet, or it should be voice, in physical presence, and actually going and talking to them face to face. What should be the ideal option so that we can get the right feedback? Because right feedback is very necessary. Otherwise, people hesitate to give a right, honest feedback.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
See, meeting someone physically is difficult because of COVID, right? Yeah, I would say that was a good choice, but because of COVID, that's a little bit out of the option. Again, I would just say DM, cold message, cold email, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever platform your customers are using. I would say just reach out to them and say, hey, would you be interested in a short 5-minute or 10-minute call, right? You will get rejected 9 out of 10 times, right? 100%. But don't give up. That one person who will say yes will be valuable.
Thanks, Shreyans. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you. So I'm seeing a lot of other hands and people asking questions. Keshav Gupta.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good to see you once more time.
Hi, Keshav.
Yeah. So I have a question like how to go to people like I get lot of ideas, so I don't know like my ideas is good or bad, but I tell people and they say me like it is a good idea, but I don't know how to implement them. So that's the thing.
Okay. So I would say since you're getting many ideas, try to find a problem which has the biggest market.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is a topic that we'll be covering in the future within the Entrepreneurship Club, but there's a concept called TAM, which is Total Accessible Market, right? So the EdTech market in India, it's like a $10 billion industry.
Yep.
Right? So that means there's a lot of potential, there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of problems waiting to be solved. So if you are getting a lot of different ideas, number one, find the idea that you are passionate about. Find something that you really want to solve. And number two, look at which problem is the largest.
Yep.
Right.
But there is one more, like I don't find people who has like same who has same idea with me, like they means they want to work with me. That's also one more thing. Like
okay, so
how to tell, how to go people and meet and like talk to them with our ideas.
So that is exactly what we're trying to do at the Entrepreneurship Club at Bluelearn. That's something that even I found difficult. Even I couldn't find a good solution for that, and that's why we created this club. So every week, throughout the weekdays, mostly Tuesday and Thursdays, we will be having some sort of short sessions where you can meet people, they exchange their numbers, exchange their Instagram information, and then continue your conversation with them on WhatsApp or wherever. right? So do come on for these sessions and
Yes.
definitely just meet new people, exchange numbers, and make connections.
Yep. Thanks, Shreyansh.
Great. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of hands being raised. Actually, okay, no. We'll take maybe one or two more. Uh, Let me just see if someone in the chat asking questions. Okay, so the people are asking for the WhatsApp group link. If we share the WhatsApp group link over here, then everyone will join in. But okay, no issue. I think it'll probably be full by now or something like that. So people asking what is a course on entrepreneurship? I would say more than a course. I think first experiment, right? First try to find a problem that you want to solve, because there is no right way to build a startup, right? There's no book. There's no course that you can just take and suddenly become an entrepreneur, right? Doesn't exist. It's just a trial and error. Try something, fail at it. Try something else, again fail at it. Keep trying. How to find an idea? That's a good question. Um, how to find an idea? That's a very good question, and it's something that even it's difficult to answer. I would say the only thing is just to keep your mind open. I'll give you an example. When the lockdown started last year in 2020, I had just started going to the gym just a little bit, just trying to get a little stronger. And the lockdown happened and gyms were closed. Now, what are the options that I have? I can probably buy some gym equipment and do it at home, or I can stop going to the gym, like stop working out. I didn't want to stop working out, so I ended up buying expensive gym equipment at home, those dumbbells and weights and all that stuff. It's not cheap, right? 2-3 thousand rupees. But what if there was some place that was renting out equipment for maybe 100 rupees a month, 500 rupees a month? Would you rent it? Probably, right? So that was a problem that I faced. What to do? How can I continue working out? And a solution that I thought was maybe someone can rent. So you just need to think of ideas by looking around you and trying to find problems that you face. The problems can be very, very, very simple. But if everyone faces them, that means it's a big problem. Someone else, are you from Blitzscore? Yeah, I am from Blitzscore. How much money should we spend on our first MVP and initial marketing? Good question, Shaurya. Try to use as little money on your MVP as possible. Now, obviously, there's no right answer. If you are building some new spaceship, then you will obviously need a lot of money. But if you're trying to build a simple website, you can do it for free. I would encourage people to make it for free as much as possible. There's a lot of tools, softwares on the internet which allow people to build stuff for free. No coding required, no money required. Website builders and software builders, whatnot. But if you do require some money, try using, but as minimum as possible. Can I share the presentation? I mean, the recording will be shared. It's on YouTube anyway, right? So don't worry about that. I think it's on YouTube. I hope it's on YouTube. Viraj, you can confirm. Yeah, it's being
Yeah,
streamed. It's live stream on YouTube. So anyone who wants to view this webinar again, go through the slides. It's on Bluelearn's YouTube channel, so don't worry about that. Okay, so I'll take one last question. This is a question that I've been seeing a lot in the chat since the beginning. Is what if someone steals my idea? That's possible, right? It's possible. I'm not going to say it's not. It's impossible. People will steal ideas. It can happen, but that's where you need to understand that if you are building something that anyone can steal in 1 second, then how will you even move forward, right? Even if you become a little bit big and someone steals the idea from you, you're gone. So try to solve a problem where you have a unique advantage over your competitors, right? So I'll give you an example for Bluelearn. And there's a lot of other companies or startups who are trying to build an education technology platform to help students learn. But how many of them have access to 42,000 students in their community already. Not many, right? So even if someone were to steal our idea tomorrow, building this community of students is so hard that they cannot just steal it, right? So try to find something that gives you an unfair, unique advantage over other startups. Yeah, execution is very important. For all those who are asking, is execution important? Execution is the most important. If you can have a really great idea, but if your execution is bad, then that really great idea will just remain an idea. And I have seen people with not good ideas, like medium, average ideas, but their execution was so good, so flawless, so fast that they managed to make it into $1 million startups. So I'm still getting like so many questions. I'm sorry I won't be able to answer all of your questions, but the whole point, the whole purpose of today's session was that to help you guys understand that we will be answering all your questions. We'll be going into depth of all the questions you're asking, of all the concepts that we saw today in the next few weeks and months. So all we require from you guys is maybe 1 to 2 hours on the weekends and 1 to 2 hours on the weekdays. And if you guys can come for the weekly master classes, for the brainstorming sessions, pitching competitions, like I mentioned, we have collaborations with some other great venture capitalists, some great VCs. They are ready to give real life mentorship, reviewing your pitch decks, how to make a pitch deck. And then, of course, I did mention this. We have one VC who is ready to fund a startup. But of course, not just any startup. That startup has to be genuinely great, some traction, a good idea, a good team, good execution. And we can connect you guys with some pieces as well. So that's it for today. I'm so glad that most of you stayed through, 230 students. So all of you who have stayed. I know there's a lot of people. There's I think some 10, 12 hands that are being raised, and I'm really sorry I'm not able to answer everyone's question, but it'll just go on forever, right? We will be answering everyone's question in the coming few weeks or months. Can we start? One last question. Can we start a startup with zero money? Absolutely, yes. 100% you can. For all those who are asking how to contact me, I'm on Instagram. I would say it's the best way to contact me. Also, one last thing. All this is for free. We're not charging anything to join the club. It is 100% for free. Right? We just want to help students. I just think that, if I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was starting up, or when Harish and I were starting up, if we had someone to help us, that would have made our life so much easier, right? And that's just what we're trying to do over here. Again, do send the link. Viraj, if you're here, or anyone, I don't have the link with me, but just send the link to the website. Yeah. We'll send the link to the website on the chat. And yeah, it's right here. Deekshit, I think, thanks for putting it up. Click on it, do check it out. And if you don't get in, don't worry, we'll be opening up and taking another 250 students in the next few weeks, right? Oh, someone asked, can we do English club and entrepreneurship club both? Yes, definitely. We try to make sure that they won't clash the timings, but yeah, definitely. So thank you all for coming so much. I try to keep this as short as possible, 40, 45 minutes. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know most of us have other things to do and it gets boring after a while. So thank you so much for coming in. Hope to see you guys really soon in the first session of the Entrepreneurship Club, mostly this weekend. Looking forward to seeing all of you over there. Bye.